What is up, guys? Neo here, and I'm coming at you today with 4 things that I love and 4 things that I hate about Battlefield 5. I've been putting a lot of time into the beta this week, and there are a few things that I really like, and there are a few things that I really dislike. So I'm just gonna share some things that I think are good about this game or have potential in this game, but maybe need a little tweaking, and 4 things that I think absolutely should be changed in some way, shape, or form. Before I get into that, though, I do want to say that I have been putting quite a few hours into this, and overall I quite like the game. I think that there is a really good base game here, and most of the stuff, I think, there's bugs and there's glitches. It's a beta. That stuff should be cleaned up by the time the release comes around on November 20th. But there are some, the stuff I'm going to point out aren't those types of things. It's stuff that I think actually needs to be addressed by developers to make a conscious decision to go a little bit different direction with things. So, with all that said, let's jump into it. And we'll start with the things that I love. And one of the features that they brought into Battlefield 5 that wasn't in previous installments is the buddy revive. Now, if you're not aware of what this is, anybody in your squad, whether they are a medic or not, can perform a revive on you. And likewise, you can perform a revive on anyone in your squad, regardless of what class you're playing. I think this is a really good change. It's really going to encourage the squads to stay together so that they can pick each other up. It's going to encourage people to play classes other than just medic. We've all seen the squads that go out there, 4 or 5 medics. Not a whole lot of class variety, and this game, it's really focusing on team play, and you need that class variety to play effectively. One other thing that I like, as I was a medic main in Battlefield 1, is now you are able to get revived if you are the only medic in your squad. Now, the buddy revive, it does take a bit longer, actually quite a bit longer than medic revive, but I think it should. There needs to be some benefit to actually going medic, otherwise no one will go medic, and you'll just revive each other as assaults or supports or what have you. Yeah, going for the buddy revive, because it does take significantly longer, puts you at significantly more risk. Which, again, I think is fine. It's a calculated risk. You're going to have to go into an area, know that it's safe, or throw yourself some smoke before you go for the revive. You can't just go in and hope. I don't think that this mechanic that they've added is going to be overpowered, as, like I said earlier, you can only do it within the squad. It's not like I can run with 2 other squads and just pick up everyone on the point, get a revive train going. I mean, I guess you could if you're a medic, but not just anyone will be able to do it. Okay, another big change that they made to this game from previous installments is attrition. Now, if you don't know what attrition refers to, you start with all your health, but you no longer have the ability to regenerate health completely. I have touched on this before, but that's the basic mechanic. If you get shot down to 20 health, you might revive up to, or self-heal up to 40, maybe 50, somewhere in that realm. But you're not going to go all the way. You're going to be a far easier kill. You do have the ability to take a healing pouch with you, which I think is another good change. You can pick them up at medical crates, at spawns, and objectives, or a medic can throw them to you. Same thing with ammo, though. You start with about 1 magazine short of your full capacity, and it's a change that's designed to make these more support classes more viable. By support classes, I mean both medic and support. And I think that they're definitely going to do their job. I think that a squad that works together, they have a medic, they have an assault, they have a support, maybe another whatever class the 4th player wants to play, really. Recon probably isn't going to be as useful, but they'll definitely have their place. If you get a good recon, then you'll be set up pretty good. This change has actually been met with quite a bit of controversy. Quite a bit of people aren't really liking the change. Personally, I love the direction and the spirit of the change. I think they've slightly overdone it. I would like to have full ammo when I spawn in. I don't want to have to go to a supply station or spawn on my support teammate. I mean, it definitely improves team and squad play, but you know, sometimes you're the only person left in your squad and everyone's died in the same firefight and you're out of ammo because you started the firefight with only 32 rounds and your support didn't have time to throw you a bag or what have you. I think it needs tweaking, like I say, but overall I think this is a good change and a good mechanic, and if DICE can dial it in, then I think it'll be just fine. Another change that people seem to either love or hate is this game has a significantly faster TDK. That, at least in regards to Battlefield 1, it's definitely closer to Battlefield 3 or 4. Probably closer to 4. This does cause some issues. I mean, players with high ping, they have a higher advantage. You know, sometimes you won't see or know an enemy's there, and then all of a sudden all the bullets hit you at once and you die instantly with no time to react. So, I mean, you can see how that'll give an advantage to campers with faster time to kill. They can probably gun you in the back as you run by before you have an opportunity to turn around. Having said that, Battlefield 5 has gone a little bit different direction. Battlefield 1, you could definitely ramble around and do it all yourself. This game isn't about that. It is more about running with your squad, being a little bit slower, being a little bit more methodical, and taking your time, clearing your corners. So if you play more slowly, go for the flanks, you play a bit smarter and think about how you might actually approach these situations if you are actually in them, you should do fine. And keep in mind that the faster TTK, while it will aid campers, when you go for those flanks, it's definitely going to help you just melt the enemy team. Anyone who got off a good flank in Battlefield 1 will know that you could usually kill 2, 3, maybe 4 guys, but after that, the enemies are aware of you, and quite often they would finish you off with ease at that point. If you go back to Battlefield 3 or 4, if you saw 7 or 8 of the enemies, you had a good chance of taking them out if you could land your shots. So hopefully in Battlefield 5 we will see more of that and less of the opportunities for guys to win gunfights who have no business winning gunfights. Another fundamental change made to this game, which I haven't really heard anyone complain about, is the removal of the 3D spotting. So you probably remember this from previous Battlefield games. You spam the spot button, see where the enemy is, and then it has a little target over it. They show up on the minimap and you shoot at it, basically. That's gone in this game. They replaced it with a soft ping, which the enemy isn't spotted, but you can mark an area that you want teammates to pay attention to for whatever reason. Usually, I think the intended use is obviously because there's an enemy over there or a vehicle over there or something. So, I mean, this change, it makes you rely on your environmental cues rather than hunt the Doritos. This should be a positive change, as one of the most aggravating parts of Battlefield 1, for me at least, was when you would start off on a good flank and a sniper across the map sees you, can't do anything about it, but spots you so that your flank is no longer a surprise and you have enemies waiting for you who had no business knowing you were there. This change I feel like is going to focus the game more towards realism, and I think that's a good step for a game that's been pretty heavily criticized up to this point regarding its lack of immersion and realism. Okay, so those are 4 things that I really like or love about Battlefield 5. They aren't the only things that I like, but they are some of the bigger ones. Moving on to stuff that I hate in no particular order. The weapon upgrade tree. Now, in previous Battlefields, you could swap out certain attachments, grips, sights, what have you, that you had unlocked through gameplay, and making the change had some benefit, but it also had some drawback. If you look at Battlefield 1, you had variants of the gun, and each variant had stuff it was better at and stuff it was worse at. And you had to pick, based on the style that you were planning on playing, what attachments or what variant best suited your needs. That's no longer the case in Battlefield 5. Instead, you get one version of the gun, and as you go along and use the gun and rank it up, you have the ability to upgrade it. And upgrades range from stuff like able to ADS faster, able to switch to your primary faster, to stuff that I believe has no business being in the game, like extended magazines and improving aim. It's my biggest issue with this is that it's going to make it harder for newer players to compete, because if you start the game 3 months into the lifespan, everyone is going to have these things unlocked and they're going to have them on their gun. So you could be using the exact same gun but not upgraded, and that guy's going to melt your face. It's an advantage. It's a distinct advantage that rewards nothing but time played. There's no skill involved in it whatsoever. Well, that is the crux of my complaint with this mechanic. If DICE is going to move forward with it, then they at least need to make changes, because the way it's set up now is you can pick from a few different upgrades. Basically, your upgrade tree, it forks in different directions, and picking one fork locks you up from the other side. So you need to look at all the upgrades, decide which route you want to go in order to get yourself there. I don't really like that. I want to be able to have all the upgrades and just equip the ones that I want so that I have the ability to switch up my playstyle. And right now I don't have that. Now I've not tested this, but I have heard you're able to basically buy another copy of the gun and upgrade it, but this is requiring you to spend more money to do the exact same thing, which really doesn't seem to make sense, as it's in-game currency, nothing that anyone's going to make money off of. It doesn't improve gameplay, it just means the player needs to grind more to get that in-game currency. I personally don't really like that. But moving on from the upgrade tree, on to the next issue, which is the lighting in this game. Now, the map we're looking at here is Rotterdam. For the most part, it is pretty well lit. It's pretty easy to see the enemies, although I will say that along with the player lighting, the player outlines, they're sometimes pretty difficult to see, even when they're wide open in the light. Like, if they're prone and not moving, it is significantly harder to see them than it was in Battlefield 1. So I don't know what DICE can do about that, but something would be nice. Now, having said that this map is better doesn't mean that it's necessarily good. There are a lot of buildings, there are a lot of alleys, there are a lot of dark places where people can hide, and they do. Like you can see here. That is actually a pretty good... That was pretty good. There are significantly worse areas where I've literally been standing facing a window right beside it and had an enemy on the opposite side of it inside, and I could not see them. But because I'm outside in the light, they can see me and they easily get the kill. Likewise, running down an alley, it was a little dead-end alley. A teammate of mine ran in, peeked it, didn't see anything, moved on. I ran up, also peeked it, not really knowing the map, knowing that it was a dead end. Saw it was a dead end, saw no enemy, kept going. All of a sudden, enemy runs up behind me, shoots me and the teammate in the back. He was there the whole time, but neither of us could see him, even though we did check. So if they could improve the lighting in those kind of situations, that would be great, because that doesn't really do anything to help gameplay. If they want to put it on objectives and make it a strategic decision, hide in the dark, try to conceal yourself a little bit, because at least then there's an indication that, hey, there's an enemy on the point. But to just have these places randomly strewn about the map, I don't really feel like it adds anything to the game. I don't think it adds anything that helps, at least. Okay, this video is gone a lot longer than I thought it would, so I'm going to try and quickly wrap up the last 2 points here, and they are the new UI system, the user interface. I'm really not a fan of it, and my main complaint with this is that you can't upgrade your gun from the server, nor can you switch up your challenges from the server. You need to quit, leave the server, go to the main menu, go do whatever it is you're doing, and then go back to the server browser and wait in the queue again to get into another match. It's not intuitive, it doesn't make sense, it wastes a lot of time, and you're gonna have players who decide that, well, I don't want to wait again, I'm gonna go play something else, because every time I unlock something I have to leave. It's not fun. Moving on to the last point, it is on the game screen itself, there aren't very many visual identifiers. And as a medic main, I'm specifically referring to, in this instance, dead teammates. They are very difficult to spot, even when you know where they are. There are plenty of times, even in just this short beta already, where a teammate I'm in voice chat with tells me they're dead, they're on the point, they give me a rough location for their body, and on the minimap I can see where the X is. But I can't actually find them. The game doesn't give me an identifier, it doesn't give me the little skull crossbones. I don't know where they are. And I mean, that's a problem. It's difficult enough for medics to get revived sometimes, but for the game to not really assist you in any way, that's just not very good planning, in my opinion. And with this, I'm going to add that there has been a lot of confusion about how exactly to revive, because there's been a very common problem where the medic, or going for the buddy revives even, instead of reviving, they switch guns, or they switch guns and they revive. And that's not exactly what people want. If you're customizing these guns and you're setting them up exactly how you want them, it's going to be a lot more difficult to just take someone else's kit and be used to it than it was in Battlefield 1, where everything was pretty bare bones. There was not any real customization. It was just skins and variants. One other thing that I would really like to see changed in regard to revives and respawns, and that is, if you wait for someone to revive you and you bleed out, I would really like to be able to spawn back in right away, but the way it is right now, you've got to wait 7 seconds. Now if you skip the revive, I get it, you gotta wait a little bit longer, but right now there's no incentive to not skip. So I would like to see them remove that 7-second timer after you've bled out. I mean, provided that you've waited the full time and you haven't just bled out by forcing yourself to die. So yeah, that's kind of my biggest issues so far. I mean, like I've said, there are other problems with the game. It's buggy, it's glitchy, there's been crashes, there's been, you know, places where I've got caught on the map and had to redeploy. But for the most part, I mean, those are beta issues. They're to be expected. These things that I brought up today, they are not beta issues. They are stuff that is, in my opinion, wrong with the actual mechanics of the game, and it will take conscious effort to change. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you think there are bigger issues? Do you think that I'm looking at the wrong issues? Do you hate some of the stuff that I love? I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say and what you guys think of the game. I'm really digging it. I hope you guys are too. But just let me know. What do you think? Do you think that this game is worth a buy? I do. Do you think it's worth waiting for a sale? Do you think it's something that you should just skip out on entirely? That's going to be it for this video though, guys. I will do another video on the beta after it's over, on my final impressions, and a lot of this stuff might get said again. We'll see. But for now, that's going to be it. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit that thumbs up button. If you did not enjoy it, feel free to hit the thumbs down. And if you want to see more content like this, please do hit that subscribe button and support the channel. Thank you very much, guys, and I will see you on the battlefield.